Yeah. Alright, boys and girls. A wee fault in D7, I said. Easy fix, I said. I'm a beeping arse. Running. At least it's running. Or at least it's limping home. Half of it's missing. I just want to ask a question to previous owners of this thing. Was the power plug plugged in backwards or 1 pound off? Sent 12 volt down the 5 maybe? It's just, I'll show you why. You see that's missing. That was shorted. That was dead. 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 And that's dead. I need to get someone to send me one of them. I don't think you can get that anymore. I spent up to 4 in the morning last night, several days before I went on holiday, and most of the day diagnosing this stupid bloody thing. Faults I was getting was with nothing on the board at all. D0 was grounded. It wasn't shorted to ground, but it was shown low all the time. With nothing on the board. All the chips off. This was off, this was off, this was off. D0 ground. I thought, well, I've got a trace to trace short. So I took a desoldered that, a desoldered that, a desoldered that, replaced all the sockets. Didn't make a difference. Cut the power pins to this. Didn't make a difference. That was already out because I diagnosed that as burnt. That's burnt as well. That's fried. Totally fried. It gets red hot if you connect the power to it. I've cut the power pin away from it. When I finally came to this one here, I cut the pin for D0 there. No difference. I cut the pin on the opposite side. It's like pin 18 and the short went away. Well, the fault went away. And it's absolutely bizarre because pin 18 I don't think has anything to do with D0. Schematic there. U43. Yeah, pin 18 is D7, not D0. Oh no. Aye. There's her. Aye. I was reading that the wrong way around. That one's wired the reverse direction to what the other one is. Yeah, so 18. So I cut the pin there and the fault in D0 finally went away. But I still had all the other data lines with about 2 volts sitting on them with nothing on the board. I thought, that's bloody strange. And I couldn't understand it because I'd confirmed there was no shorts here, no shorts here, no shorts here. The short in D0 gone away. There's no power getting to this, there's no power getting to this. That doesn't have a connection to the line anyway. All the things I could think of was along this bank here. Now you can see the corrosion has been under these. These were dead. But it's when I removed this one up here that the rest of the faults went away. This chip here was loading down all the data lines, dropping them down to about 2 volt. And it had power. There's no short circuits or anything underneath it, it's just the chip had become a sort of big resistor bank. So, and you see, I got your transistor back, and that's a cool idea by the way, but it's not going to be reliable in practice. That's a good idea for testing, stick a little socket there, but I would solder that transistor into those pins and then it'd be rock solid. Yeah. Let's focus. I've got the board running. So, yeah, so the only thing I can think of is killed that up there, this there, that, and that, is that that's been plugged in backwards. Or a pin off, or shorted out, or somebody shorted something out in the testing. Yeah, the rest of it as well. What else did I have? It's been so long since I started this board. I had no 5 volts to the RAM. Well, that killed the RAM. You got what's called a lock-up situation where you're driving lines on the RAM without power. It kills it internally. That fault was an open trace down here, and all I've done is connected the trace up there. That connects the RAM back up to, and you could probably even fit a battery to that if you wanted to, and it would still supply power. These two chips here had no ground connection, and there's another one somewhere, that one had no ground connection, and that had killed that. But I resolved all that weeks before. And there was also one or two problems with the wire links. You had what I would call an accidental capacitor, where the links were interfering with each other. And well, I've kind of redone them, and I found a few other broken traces at the same time. I know it doesn't look neat. I know people try and be neat, but sometimes you can try too hard. And the attempts to be super neat, I don't know if the camera will focus in, but that via there was shorted to the trace next door, and that was causing chaos. Now yes, we are working. Now, I'll contact the previous owner on the phone, and we'll need to work out a price for this one, because, well, he's going to need to buy a few new parts for it, isn't he? Just goes to show you that there's advice floating about the internet now, don't buy Meggy. Well, I kind of disagree with that. Do buy Meggy, fantastic games. But for God's sake, know what you're doing, or make sure you get a fully working board, because even if you do know what you're doing, I know what I'm doing, and the previous owner of this knew what he was doing as well, and it still took, I would say, easily 72 hours solid work of just diagnosing it, getting time to sit down with the soldering iron, take this off, cut the power to that, remove this, put these various wire links on, trying different chips, because honestly they're not very repair friendly, these, when they're gone wrong. They've got quite a strange way, the way they start up, and if it isn't exactly right, then you get absolutely nowhere, and sometimes the logic probe is just no use. But I don't think I would even be able to find this with a scope, because when you're probing around, this look, all the signals batting back and forth here look right. But for example, the signal there will look right, but you'll have nothing happening on the output pins, or the signals into the input 0 look right and you'll have nothing happening on the output pins. With this board, I was getting it the opposite way around. All the outputs for everything were running all the time, which meant nothing was getting set up right. And it's just simply been that data lines have been jammed on when they shouldn't have been. I'm surprised RAM even ran code like that, but bizarrely it did. The program ran. You could see it trying to talk to this, and it was setting up an IRQ, but when it starts to run this, and the first stage of the, sorry, I'm a bit tired, I'm a bit of a sore back here. The first stage of the process is, this will fetch the instructions for the ROM. It does a RAM test. Even the test ROM does a RAM test. It looks at these, they're not there anyway. They're not connected in, but it still looks at them. And then it sets up this. And the very first thing it does after that is it'll send the write address to this PAL here to enable this, which sends a chip select to this for the interrupt. The interrupt's already sitting there, because this sets up independently, it's got its own clock. But this can't do anything with it, because this is just freewheeling. All the outputs are firing at the same time, so this never gets the right sequence of chip selects. If you can understand what I mean. Confused? You will be. I'm confusing myself here in the video. But yes! It's alive. And I've gone on far too long. I'm going to have a well-earned rest. And maybe I'll come back in about 20-25 minutes. Or later today, or tomorrow afternoon, or 3 o'clock in the morning this morning. And I'll try and explain with the schematic what the hell was going on. But the flashing lights speak for themselves, and that's not reset bypassed. That's running its own reset circuit, transistors back in, the code running, the watchdog's running. Yeehaw. Bye for now.